I've just made a laminated traveller's notebook cover using my Simply Gilded subscription box. So this is it here, and that's the back of the box, and then inside is the washi that came in this month's kit, and that's on all the way through the inside. I've put 4 pocket size inserts in here, and you can see there's plenty of space for them, and there's space at the top for tabs and space at the side also for the pen or for tabs. So if you'd like to see step by step how I make this, then please stay tuned. This is the box for June. It's the first month I've subscribed to the box. I really like the actual box itself, and so I decided to make a pocket size traveller's notebook with the box. So the first thing to do is to completely flatten the box. We just need to find the edge that was glued down to make the box in the first place. So this is on one of the spines along here, and then just with some scissors just cut along there. So now you should have this. For the front of the traveller's notebook and the back of the traveller's notebook, I'm going to use the front of the box and the back of the box. And what I've decided to do is make the traveller's notebook with this as a spine, and to cut a 4 by 6 inch front and a 4 by 6 inch back. So we need to find the centre of the front and the back. Okay, so if we go onto the crease of the box here and measure to the crease of the box here, it's 8 1/4 inches. So the middle would be at 4 1/8 of an inch. Or if you have one of these handy dandy rulers, it can centre for you. So if we put this on 4 1/8 of an inch, as we've worked out, that's the centre. What you find is that that line sits on the crease at 4 1/8 inch, and then the other side also is at 4 1/8 inch. You can read these numbers here, so that's 0, and we want to measure 2 inches out from the centre on each side, so that we have 4 inches across. So if you don't have one of these rulers and don't want to be bothered with the numbers, what you can do is just put your mark here 2 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and then measure your 4 inches from this 2 1/8 mark. So I might just mark both sides of this to line up with the paper cutter when I need to line it up. So between this and this is 4 inches. Then we need to do the same thing on this side. From the centre it's 4 1/8 inch out either side, and from the centre I'll just mark the 2. So once again you can measure 2 1/8 of an inch and put your mark, and then just measure 4 inches and put your next mark. And we'll just do that up near the top here. Okay, so now we've marked 4 inches across on the front and the back. So now we'll get the paper cutter out. If you look for the 6 inch height, it's before this crease in the box. So what I'm going to do is just chop this long bit of the creased bit of the box off. Because I may find that bit useful for something, I may not, but I'm just going to do that. And then I'm just going to slice along the pencil marks that I have. Do the same, we'll slice this flap off the box. Then I just want to cut the spine out to be the spine of the traveller's notebook. So I'm picking the one that's only one layer of cardboard, as if you look at the spine on the other side of the box, this is where the box was sealed, so there are 2 layers of cardboard. So with laminating this, you'll more than likely get bubbles and things, so it's much better to use this bit here. If we look at this bit, this is slightly more than 5 inches. So what we want to do is just cut a teeny bit off each side so that we have 5 inches here with the spine. So if I actually measure from there to there, this line here is the 5-inch line, so there's only a teeny bit. So we'll just lift that up a teeny bit. And then when we cut this one, we can measure the 5 inches and cut that bit off. So we have the 5-inch spine. So this is 1 inch wide. So what I might do is just cut a 1 inch by 1 inch square to place on the bottom. Oh. Right there. Okay, so now we have a 1 inch by 1 inch square, which we can put on the bottom here. I now have the pieces to make the traveller's notebook cover. So I have the front and the back. Each of these is 4 inches across by 6 inches down. I have the spine. This is 1 inch across by 5 inches down. And this is a 1 inch square that I've just made from elsewhere on the box. I've used my paper cutter to cut all of these. If you don't have a paper cutter, you can just use a ruler and pencil to mark out your dimensions and then just use scissors to cut them out. So the first thing I'm going to do is disguise this join here. So I'm going to use some washi to do that. So I've ripped a small piece of the mermaid scale washi off and I'm just going to put that along the bottom of this, what will be the spine. Place this on the top and put a piece of washi here to disguise the cut in the box. So I'm going to use the 15mm bow washi for this, and I'm just going to try and place one of the bows approximately in the center of the spine, like so. So now the spine of the traveller's notebook has some of the lovely washi on it, and we don't see the join that we have because the edge of the box wasn't 6 inches high, it's only 5 inches high. I've got a Fiskars knife and I'm just going to cut the washi along the edge of the spine, like so, and just cut the washi on this side. So there's the spine of the traveller's notebook. For the front of the box, I've decided to put some washi on this part of the box. So I could either put washi just horizontally on it, or I think what I'm going to do is place some at an angle. as we go. So I'm just going to rip a little bit of this mermaid scale off, and we'll start with the mermaid scale washi. I'm just going to place it at that angle there. Make it a little easier to cut on the bottom, I'm just going to place a ruler along here, and that way I can cut along the edge of the ruler. My box was a little bit damaged in transit when it came to me, so it's got this bit here. It's got a crease there I can't do much about, but it has a crease there which I could disguise by just placing my washi down to this height. So there are the 5 washies that are in the kit, and then I'll just repeat the pattern to the end. And the end bit here is just going to be a teeny tiny bit of that colour. Okay, I'll just push all that down. And what I want to do now is just cut along the edge of the ruler without actually cutting the box. Oh, not quite. So that's that edge, and then I just need to cut along the other edges, and we'll just push the washi down over and trim along the edge. One here has folded, so you do just need to check that you haven't had an accident such as that. So that will be the cover of the traveller's notebook. Take that bit of washi off, and this will be the spine, and then this is the back. So I'm still undecided, as this is the first time I've actually made one of these from a Simply Gilded box, whether I'd like to also put washi on the bottom here or put some other stickers. But I think I'll leave that as it is, but what I'd like to do is washi the inside of the box to make the inside of the box a bit more interesting. If we lay the cover out in the way that we're going to place it in a laminating sleeve, so the front and then the spine and then the back, I'm going to put washi across all of this to decorate the inside of the cover. So I'll do it in the same order. Each roll of washi does come with 10 meters, so there is plenty. Are the 5 washes in the order that I'm going to put them, and I'm going to continue all the way across. I'm just going to put the spine here with a little bit of a gap to apply the washi to it, and that's going to be approximately the gap that it will have when I put it in the laminating sheet. Okay, so there we go. I've put washi over the entire back of what will be the Traveller's Notebook cover. I did just put a tiny bit on that corner, and then I realised I'm going to round the corners, so I'm actually going to chop that bit off, but never mind. So what I need to do now is just cut all the edges with my knife. So that's the inside of the back cover of the Traveller's Notebook cover. So I also just want to place it on this side and trim around the edges there to make sure I've cut all the washi away. So we can see it's tidy from this side, and then we have all the gorgeous washi on the inside. So I'm just going to cut around the spine and the front in just the same way. So we have the front of the Traveller's Notebook cover and the inside of the front. So we do need to make sure there aren't extra loose bits of washi stuck on it. I've just cleared all the loose washi off my cutting mat, and I'll just show you the inside of the Traveller's Notebook. So we'll place it in a laminating pouch like this, so it'll have the front and then a space with the spine and then a space with the back. So then of course it folds over like this to be the actual cover. The next step is to round the outside corners of the Traveller's Notebook. So I'll just do this with a corner chomper. So I have this We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper. You can use any sort of corner rounder that you may have, or you can leave the edges like this. I just prefer to have them rounded, and definitely with laminated things, as if it's just a straight edge it can be a bit sharp. But if you don't have a corner rounder and don't want to round the corners, you can leave the corners of this pointed and then just actually round the lamination, so you haven't got a sharp point there to potentially damage you. So we need to round the four corners, which are the outside corners of the notebook. So I'm doing this on the 1/4 inch setting. So that's the corners rounded, and the next step is to place this in the laminating pouch, and we put it in this order so that you make the folding book. I'm just going to put mine in upside down just so I can see the washi pattern and see if I get the spacing correct. So I like to push it right to the edge of the laminating pouch, and then just use these lines on my cutting mat to help me try and line up all the parts of the cover. So you leave a space either side of the spine just to help with the cover bending into a book shape. What I do now is I leave the pouch on the cutting board, and I'll just get my laminator. This is my laminating machine here, and I have the cutting mat with the cover on it. And what I do is I just push this off a little bit, so there's a little bit of it sticking out, and I support the entire cover on the cutting mat as it feeds into the laminator. Oh, stop. Okay, I'm just going to take that out as I see it slipped. A bit of chaos there. My whole cover just moved despite the fact that I was holding it on the mat. So I'm just going to line the cover up again. Okay, I've just zoomed out a little bit so you can see a bit more clearly. So this is my laminating machine. It's just a very cheap one from Kmart. And then I have the cover in a laminating pouch on my cutting mat. And I'm just going to leave it on the cutting mat and start feeding the pouch through the laminator. And then as it comes out and it's still warm, just fold it over into a book shape. I've sent the cover through the laminator, but it's looking a little bit bubbly. So what I thought I'd do is just send it through one more time. It isn't bubbly on the actual cover part of it, but there isn't a particularly good seal right next to it. So I'm hoping by sending it through again, it might remove those bubbles. Okay, so that's finished, and we just want to fold that again. Just to fold it into that book shape. So hopefully it is sealed around the edges. I'm not sure if it looks like it is, but we shall cut around the edges and we shall see. So the next step is to cut along the outside to cut the extra lamination off the notebook. You can do it with scissors or with a paper cutter, whatever you have and whatever you feel comfortable using. Now I'm just going to round these pointed edges. So there we have the laminated cover with the corners rounded, and it's in the shape of a book with a 1-inch spine. So the next thing to do to make it into a traveller's notebook is to punch holes in here so that we can string elastics into it. The best way to do this is to make a template to make sure you get your holes in the right place. So I've made a template on this side, but I can quickly show you this side as to how I did that. I just get a ruler. I make the centre of the hole about 1/4 of an inch up. So along this is the 1/4 of an inch mark from the edge. So across the spine is 1 inch. If we make a mark on the 1/2 inch and then 1/4 inch and 3/4 of an inch. There we go, so we've made those 3 marks there. You can then get whatever you have to make the holes. I have a crop-a-dile, which I use, and I use on the 1/8 of an inch hole. So then if you just look down the hole for where the X is, or the cross that you've just drawn, or the dot or whatever, and put the centre of the hole in that mark, then you end up with 3 holes along here. So by punching 3 holes in the notebook, I can string 4 elastics into it. So then what we can do is we can use this as a template for cutting through here. The template itself is just a 6" by 1" rectangle. We'll just punch through these holes. So when the holes line up, you can just punch the hole. There we go, and then we'll do the other end. Do this end the same way, just by clipping here and then just holding it here, and when the holes line up, punch. So we also need to make a hole in the center here. So you can make that various ways. If you have a long reach crop-a-dile, you can make that very easily. I don't have a long reach crop-a-dile. The way I'm going to do it is just the same way that I do my leather traveller's notebooks, with a leather punch. We'll lay that on a hard surface. And these are the leather punches which I use. So they're hollow punches, and I use the 1/8 of an inch punch. We need to find the very centre in order to punch the hole, and this is 6 inches, so the centre would be 3 inches, and this is 1 inch across. This ruler has lines for 1/2 inch. So I've put this so I have 6 inches across here, so this point in the middle is the middle of it. And I'm just going to use an overhead projector marker, which I had handy there. And then just to make sure it, okay, so it actually needs to go a bit to the left of that to be the center. So it's this one here. I think, yes, that's a hole all the way through. Now we have all of the holes for the elastics. The next step is to cut the elastic. I have just cut mine, but I'll just show you that the way you cut it is you measure approximately 4.5 times the height of the traveller's notebook, 4.5, and then I heat seal the ends with a lighter. That's to stop the ends from fraying. The reason it's 4.5 times is you're going to have the elastic going 4 times up and down here, and then you need a little bit of space for the knot. So if you put the elastic up the centre hole and run it down to about halfway, and then go up with the other end in the hole beside. And then down to the bottom. And up. And then up through to the centre hole again, and just pull that one to the side and thread the elastic back down that same hole. And then up this hole, down to the bottom, and then pull the centre elastic to the side and just try and thread through the centre hole like so. and then pull the elastic. So there you have 3 elastics going up and down, and then you just need to tie a knot in here, and this is the 4th elastic for your 4th book. There we go. There's a little bit of excess, so I'll just chop that off, and if you do chop something off, you need to remember to heat seal it, and that just stops the end fraying. Okay, so there's the 4 elastics for the books, and you just thread the books. You find the center of the book, find an elastic, and pop the book on the elastic like so. So I've put that on one of the middle elastics. So you can see there's plenty of room in the book. You can see there's some height at the top, and when it's closed there's some space at the side. So you've got space to put tabs on the top or even the side, and you've got space on the side to attach pens with pen loops and so on. So you can decorate it just as you would any pocket-sized traveller's notebook. So to do the elastic for along the front, you measure the width of the traveller's notebook, and then you add about 1 inch, and then you heat seal those ends. And then just tie a basic knot. And then you just grab the end of it in a loop and thread it through that center hull and pull it through like so, and then around the book. And there we have it. That's the finished traveller's notebook cover. And then we can pop a book in, pop the book in the back. And you've got 3 elastics for other books or dashboards or inserts or whatever you like. I'm going to make some other things for inside it with other things that were from the kit, and I may show that in another video, or maybe it might just be photos on my Instagram